What's up, guys? So if you're clicking on this video, chances are you want to learn how you can be a more grounded individual. Now, becoming a more grounded individual has opened up so many doors for me. It's been one of the most transformative things that I've ever experieed. Why? Because me, alongside, I'd say, billions of other people, walk through life and they're not very grounded. So what are the impacts of not being grounded? One, you're a lot of the time disconnected from yourself. And if you're disconnected from yourself, you're not really authentically able to connect with other people. Another big con of not being grounded is you end up saying yes to things that you don't like. And I've lived the majority of my life, I'm not an old guy yet, I'm getting there, but I've lived the majority of my life trying to people please, trying to go out and approval seeking, and trying to be accepted. Now, if you can relate to this on any form, because if you're a human, you've probably undergone similar things, I want you to imagine what it would be like if you didn't have to do these things. What if you could speak your mind authentically? What if you could voice things that you like and don't like? What if you didn't just go with the flow all the time? I'm a big advocate for going with the flow. I love going with the flow. When I'm going with the flow, a lot of serendipities happen. But the difference between now, when I go through the flow as a grounded individual, compared to going through the flow with what other people want and trying to fit into like some sort of other box, is night and day. Because I feel like I'm actually on my path, I'm on my journey right now. And if you don't feel like you're on your path or you're on your own journey of self-exploration, of finding out things that you like, things that you don't like, why? Have you ever thought to question what are the actions that you're currently taking that have got you to this point? With that in mind, let's dive into some practices of how you can be a more grounded individual. So first off, one of the things that's been really transformative for me is meditation. If you're a guy or a gal in this world, with all the social media, with all the distractions, with everybody trying to buy your attention these days, putting attention on nothing is one of the strongest things you can do. Because when I meditate these days with intention. Meditate and visualize. Trying to elicit certain emotions that I can ultimately use to acquire things that I'm trying to work towards. So visualization and doing some practices of focusing on what the desired outcome is, instead of focusing on the obstacles and the things that are getting in the way of where you want to be, has been very, very huge. So you don't have to start off doing an hour and a half a day. You don't have to start off in the lotus position. I think meditation gets a bad rap for those who don't do it. But you might actually meditate already. If you're watching a video like this and you're passionate about, I got the delivery coming up right here. If you're passionate about growth and expanding yourself and what you want in your experience here on this earth, the most important thing is being able to focus on the desired outcome. So, when you're meditating, I started off with an app called Headspace. And for me, a good day was doing 10 minutes a day. And just by doing 10 minutes a day, first thing in the morning, it sets yourself, it's like a pattern interrupt. If you typically go up and the first thing you do is you check your phone and social media, I notice if I ever do that, my day gets significantly worse. And it's a lot harder to stay grounded throughout the rest of the day. So if you start off and give yourself some space to meditate, then what happens is you now have 5 or 10% more awareness going throughout your day. The decisions that you make, the food that you eat, the people that you associate with, and the things that you get done that day. So I notice my day is a lot better when I give myself permission to have that space. And anybody can do 10 minutes a day. I don't care who you are, 10 minutes a day is whatever. Eventually, I'm getting up to 30 and 45 minutes. At one point, I was meditating an hour daily. Sometimes it's really nice to do that. Lately, for my lifestyle, 30 minutes to 45 minutes has been good. So meditating is one of the best things that you can do. Another thing is getting outside. I notice I work from home, and with the business that I'm currently in, it requires a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings, all through Zoom. I'll take a look. I can spend all day in this little office square that I'm in. And if I don't go outside, then I notice, again, my day does not feel good. Now, This is really crucial, especially if you live in a area. I'm from Vancouver originally. I now live in Latin America, but in Vancouver, Canada, it's very, very gray for like 6 to 8 months. It's like Seattle weather. And if it's gray for that much, I actually noticed that my mental health and my it just really affects me. It's seasonal. They call it seasonal affective disorder, and it stands. If you spell that out, it's SAD. So getting outside, especially on the days that aren't as nice, but taking advantage of sunny days, really, really good for you overall. Really good way to stay grounded. I'd say the biggest thing for me, I just got in from a workout, spent about 45 minutes, an hour in the gym. Every time I finish a workout, even if I don't want to do it, when I come out of it, I feel like the man. Something about cardio, something about lifting heavy weights, picking things up and throwing it, it's very primal. And when you can stay in that primal energy, what happens is you start to feel more natural. All this stuff with electricity, all these stuff with social media, all these things with our devices, all these distractions, it takes us away from our core essence as men and women. So the more that you can embody the characteristics of what we were doing before we had all these distractions, the better you're going to feel naturally. Because I do believe people, like if you think hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, there wasn't time to be depressed. Like I think that was maybe for the majority of people. Maybe there was like a baseline level of like mundane, but there was also like not this much comparison of going on in the world because we're just being bombarded by other people's lifestyles and stuff. So the more you can disconnect from that and get more connected to yourself, doing things that are more natural, exercising, walking around, the better I ultimately feel. Another major advantage to being a grounded individual is it sets you apart from a lot of people. Because if a lot of people, like myself, going through years and years of just living in head, anxiety, and never really like dropping down into the belly, into breathing into your balls. When I breathe into my balls, if you do this right now, just notice the physiological effect. It's just so much different than when you're not consciously breathing and just breathing through the mouth, through the nose, and stopping here. When you do that, you're able to get like this new sense of life. Like breath is so important. Without it, we die. So when you actually oxygenate your body and stuff, you just feel better. And when you feel better, again, you're able to connect to yourself better. And especially in social circumstances, if you have social anxiety and you practice this, then what happens is you're able to be more present and you're able to connect with what's going on around you. So when you have conversations with people, instead of like, oh, what am I going to say next? Or how am I going to be, how do I look good or whatever? You can just be you. It's a lot more of an enjoyable experience. So there's tons of I don't think of a single con. If you can think of a single con to being a more grounded person and like more embodied, drop it in the comments. Like I'd be curious to know. But I can't think of a single downside, and there's just tremendous upside. Confidence goes up. You speak better. You speak deeper. When I'm not grounded, I notice my voice goes a little bit higher. I start speaking from here instead of just dropping in down into the belly. And if you focus on, like what I'm talking right now, focus on touching my belly button or my diaphragm and actually like breathing into there while I'm talking, it's a lot more of an enjoyable experience. I can be more articulate and I just feel more ultimately grounded, better, more confident. So these are a few tips. There's a bunch more that you can do, but I think meditating, exercising regularly, and your breath, you don't need much more than that to stay grounded. And especially when you're doing things that are nerve-wracking, like you have an important meeting coming up, if you have a date. Think about this. If you're on a date with somebody and you're not grounded, then they're not actually, I mean, that might be a version of you, but they're not getting the best version of you, and you're not getting the best version of that experience. So if you ever get on the date, it's good to get those nerves and stuff, but when you're grounded, you can be more playful, right? You can joke around a little bit more. But if you're nervous and you're just like, oh, what's this person thinking of me? Am I going to say the wrong thing and all this? A lot of that anxiety goes away. So I hope this was helpful for you. These are just a few tips that I've used to stay more grounded. in my daily life. It just becomes a part of the natural lifestyle. And when you get off course, just come back to it. Breathing, it's a very natural thing. Just be a little bit more conscious of it. Exercise. When's the last time I went for a walk? When's the last time I've gone to the gym? What could I do to decompress after work? Could I go a yoga class? Doing these things and meditating continuously every day, it's the compound effect, right? You'll probably get better immediately, but over the course of time, you'll notice that your quality of life goes up. So that's what I got for you. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.